Well, welcome to another episode of the Caregiver Cup podcast. It's Kathy here. I am so glad you joined us today with episode 158. And episode 158, as you can see on the screen, is all about manifesting the caregiver life you want, and the caregiver life you probably need right now. I am thrilled with this topic because when you manifest in a positive way with positive energy and vibration, it works. And I didn't even realize in my caregiving experience that that's what I was actually doing. I was manifesting a better mood, a better energy, a better situation all around for myself. And recently I've had a couple of clients that I've worked with when it comes to manifesting, and we've been working on that and figuring out what to manifest and how to go about manifesting that. And I've had pretty good conversations with my husband, telling him about how the stars are aligning. And I think back now in all of my years of caregiving, how when I did manifest, the stars started aligning. And I thought it was, like the universe coming down and just helping me out. But when you manifest and focus and work on manifesting, not just wish for it, it can happen. I want to start out with a couple of stories to give you some backgrounds on manifesting that works and manifesting that doesn't work, and the positive energy and the negative energy. The first one I want to share is a little over a year ago. We were at Frederick Hospital. If you follow me, you know that my husband had a stem cell transplant, and we had to go into the cancer clinic pretty much on a daily basis for 6 straight weeks. It was a day where we had to go in and get the lab test done. And then after that, he had the doctor's appointment and some procedures after that. So we walk in and it's really early in the morning, like 7:45ish or something like that. We walk in, and if you haven't been to a big hospital or clinic, the waiting room is so overwhelming. There's so many people, like 50-ish people there waiting to get lab works done. You check in and then you sit down and wait. And you're in rows and against walls, but you can hear and see people all around you. And so I was actually sitting there, and I couldn't help but overhearing and noticing these two girls with an elderly woman. And I'm assuming, and I'm just going to assume for this story, that it's mom in the wheelchair and daughter one and daughter two. And so they go up to the check in, which I can see from where I'm sitting. They check mom in, but they look flustered. They look stressed. One of the daughters, I'm going to call her daughter number one, had body language, and you could hear verbally she was struggling that day. Well, they get mom checked in, and then they sit down and wait for the laboratory technician to call their name so that mom can get her lab work done. And soon as they sit down, daughter number two says, I'm going to go grab some coffee, because conveniently the coffee is on the same floor and a little cafe is on the same floor. So it's very convenient for everybody to go ahead and get some extra food or beverages. And she asked daughter number one, do you need something? Can I get you something, water, a coffee, or whatever? And she says, no. She goes, you should have gotten that before we came today. Now you're leaving me, kind of a situation. Daughter two goes to get the coffee after she pleasantly offered to get the other daughter something. And she begins telling mom, she goes, she's never prepared. She's never on time. Now she's leaving me, going for coffee. And it goes on and on and on like that. And so when the daughter returns, then mom gets called into the lab technician. What's nice about that facility is if there is somebody that's disabled or not able to mobily walk to the laboratory door, they come and get the patient. And so the laboratory technician comes to get mom, pushes her in to go ahead behind the doors and get her lab work done. Then the two daughters continue to talk, but daughter number one now says, Mom is never going to get better. She's never going to go ahead and improve if she doesn't take care of herself. She's not taking her pet meds. She refuses to eat properly, and she doesn't want to go ahead and get up and move. She goes, I don't know what to do. And daughter number two comes in and says, well, maybe we should go ahead and talk about that and with the doctor, and maybe we should look for alternatives. Daughter number one says, it'll never work. I've tried it before. It's just like beating a head into the wall. She goes, I am so tired. I am so exhausted. I am so sick of this. And daughter number two says, I can understand why, but there's got to be a way. We want to go ahead and bring it up to the doctor. Me. And they started talking about that. Well, reason I'm telling you this story is because when you're talking about manifesting or you're talking about working towards something to improve, there's two mindsets that you have. You have that abundance mindset where the daughter number two offered to get coffee. She acknowledged the daughter number one feeling tired and exhausted and going through this situation. She went ahead and saying, well, she thought of solutions. And so she was trying to go ahead and figure out ways to go ahead and improve it. Well, daughter number one is coming from a scarcity mindset. And a scarcity mindset can come from negativity. You can hear it because she's complaining about mom. She talks to the other daughter. But when things are stressful, and we know that from our perspective, when things are stressful, sometimes the scarcity mindset just comes up naturally because that's our bodies and our mind's way of fighting off things and keeping us safe. And so she's talking out of fear because the brain processes negativity faster. And then when it comes to a scarcity mindset, you can't see beyond the junk in front of you, almost like there's a mask in front of you and you can't see it. You feel stuck. Your emotions bubble up and you feel resentful and anger and all of that kind of thing. Versus an abundance mindset comes from looking at things positively, looking at options, looking at, in this situation, help. She took care of herself. Maybe coffee isn't the best way to take care of herself, but she recognizes she needs to go ahead and get something to drink. She brought back a water and a coffee. And even an abundance mindset comes from gratitude and love and more. And the reason I think I want to bring this up more is because I think both daughters love their mom. They wouldn't be there unless they love their mom, and they love their mom, but they're dealing with it in two different types of mindset. But the negative daughter's fear and emotions, even her behaviors and her actions, she feels like that is normal to her. When outside in and we look at her, she's venting without even thinking, and she's venting, and it's affecting the people around her. Think about her mom. If she's talking about her daughter, talking to her sibling about mom behind your back and out of concern, I bet she's talking to her mom and complaining about everything. And we all know what negative energy feels like because we've been with other people where the negative energy around her just sucks the life out of everybody. And think about how it's affecting her care, her doctors, the nurses, any type of thing. So I wanted to bring that up because when we're manifesting, we want to manifest with an abundance mindset. Okay, I want to share another situation when it comes to manifest. Bring myself back up on screen here once. This one is not caregiver related. It is a family member of mine. I'm not gonna bring up a name. I'm not going to go ahead and give you too much information out of privacy for that person, but I see this person for holidays and get-togethers and all that kind of stuff, and my husband and I have this inside joke that this person is going to say the same thing. Well, this person went for the longest of time, I would say to her, "Hi, how are you doing?" Give her a hug, and, "It's so nice to see you." And every single time out of her mouth is, "I'm so tired. I'm so exhausted." And it's like hum and dumb all the time, gloom and bloom, gloom versus bloom all the time. And it's, it's that negative energy. And it's like, hmm, you kind of wonder if that person has a valid complaint, which they probably do. They're a new mom, they're raising kids, they're running around, they're working full time, they're doing all this kind of stuff. But after a while, that belief becomes just normal. And it's kind of like saying, "Hey, how are you doing?" And you respond, "I'm doing good." We know everybody's not doing good, but it's a kind way of saying it. And now this person is routinely saying it all the time. And it just it's a pet peeve of mine. It drives me crazy because I get so sad thinking about the fact that her significant other feels the same way. They start acting that way. Their kids start acting that way. I gave up on asking how they were doing now. I hug them, say, "So glad you're here." If I'm hosting the party, I say, "What can I get you?" And, "Hey, look at everybody that's here." I don't even acknowledge how they're doing anymore because I don't want that negative energy to come into my space, into that space. And so when you hear them say those words all the time, you question really if it's true. And I wanted to bring up this point because if you or I are continuously telling ourselves the negativity, our words are so powerful. Our words become our thoughts become our beliefs, and then our beliefs become our values and who we are. And so you kind of have to think through that. Giving power to the words that you're feeling tired all the time is going to go ahead and make you act that way. You're going to go ahead and make decisions that way. And it's not serving you. It's not serving you. It's not giving you the power that you need. And you're creating this space in your brain of comfort and training your brain to say, "I'm tired all the time," and feel tired all the time, and accepting that as your normal all the time. Instead of the fact of, well, maybe, just maybe that person should manifest energy when you're feeling tired all the time. Maybe you need to find ways to break that cycle. What comes to mind for me is 2 weeks ago, I had a 3-day training session, a training workshop, and it was from 11 o'clock in the morning until 6 p.m. in the evening. And it was on Zoom. And we called it Zoom fatigue because when you're on Zoom, you have to be connected to your laptop or your computer. And I couldn't use my phone because it was too small. So I had to have a bigger device. And sitting all the time can just suck the energy out of you. And so I had to think about how could I manifest energy, positive energy? What could I do? And I had water in my at my desk. I had my coffee in the morning. I had healthy snacks, nothing that would give me a high and drive me down. And so I needed to go ahead and be conscious. I could stand up and move around. If you watch my last episodes, I have weights at my desk, bands at my desk, steps at my desk. And so I moved around. When there was an opportunity to break, I got up and moved and I went outside to get myself out in the fresh air. And there's so many things about grounding lately that I have to research, that by taking off your shoes and your socks and going out and stepping in the grass, there's some sort of energy that builds up in you as well. But really, when you are thinking about being exhausted, and it's a common complaint for us as caregivers. What can you do to manifest positive energy? What can you do? As caregivers, we want to get rid of our stress. We want to get rid of our fatigue. We want to go ahead and feel better. And blocking our manifesting is can be as easy as saying, I'm tired. I can't do this. I There's no way. But we can manifest positively with finding habits and healthy solutions and options and trying them to reduce stress and more. So the first thing that potentially blocking manifesting is what you say. Remember, I talked about our power of our words, and that accidentally calling things into your life that you don't want. The easiest thing that you can do is really pay attention to the words that come out of your mouth. The reason I'm saying this is when I think I shared this story a few episodes ago, but I use band training and I hook it onto the door handles and I pull back on the bands and try to stretch the bands to use my upper body strength. Well, I didn't hook it onto the door handles that day. I hooked it onto the back of the little hook in the back of the door with these little tiny screws, and they came out and I went flying and the band snapped me in the face and I fell down and I hurt my hamstring and all that kind of stuff. What's your first response when you do something like that? It was, "I'm so klutzy. I'm so stupid. How dumb am I to go ahead and hook it up to the back of the thing?" And then you get hurt and you're like, "Oh my gosh, I can't do this and I can't do that." That's human nature that you're going to go ahead and do that. But what you don't wanna do is attract that manifestation and keep thinking about it, because negative statements reinforce in our brain to stay stuck, to stay hurt, to stay in pain, whatever it would be. You may be blocking what you're trying to manifest by doing that. When I was done there, I want to manifest getting healthy versus I kept thinking about every time I stumbled or every time I cut my finger on a paper or a knife, I'm like, here I go again. I'm accident prone. Well, you're going to notice everything that happens when you manifest negativity versus you want to go ahead and manifest from a positive perspective. A couple of examples come to my mind. Think about you trying to go ahead and pay your bills. Let's say you're not financially able to pay your bills. My youngest son is living paycheck to paycheck, him and his girlfriend all the time, and so I know that they're struggling. So instead of saying, we don't have any money, we're going to get farther in debt, if they say, our goal, and we're going to manifest money and pay our bills on time, they're going to go ahead and do that. But if something negative happens, like they get an extra service charge or they something breaks on the car, if they focus on the negativity all the time, they're never going to manifest money versus celebrating every time they paid a bill on time, celebrating that they saved themselves 10 bucks at the grocery store by using the coupons. They're manifesting money. What ways can I manifest money? Another example, I was listening to Rachel Hollis's podcast this week, and she was talking about her daughter now wanting to get rid of the pull-ups at night, and she wants to be a big girl. Well, from a toddler perspective that those first months, you're washing the sheets every single day. But you want to encourage your child to go ahead and, you know, practice trying to hold their urine, going to the bathroom before, recognizing if they have to go to the bathroom, and so on. And she had talked about this, and she talked about every single day that she keeps off the pull-ups is a win. And then her daughter, she keeps encouraging her daughter, saying, "You're going to understand it. You have to go through this process." And one day her daughter had said, "I didn't potty as much today, Mom." Well, she is manifesting a positive attitude to going ahead and sleeping through the night and not wetting. So it's just all about this mindset when you're manifesting. So when you manifest with a positive with positive energy, even in the most challenging times, you can see progress if you keep that positive energy. So let me say though, you might be passionate about something and you're trying to manifest this thing that you truly are passionate about. Let's say you're trying to advocate for your loved one. You trying to advocate because they're on too much medication, and you're trying and trying and trying. Well, passion is high energy, but passion can't always be positive, and you have to think about that. When you are passionate, you have to think about what you can do, because my mom's drug list was so long. And if I wanted to manifest her and wean her off of those drugs, it wouldn't be something we could do overnight. And it might have to, in order for her to wean off of a drug, she might have to take something else. And you might be like, or if you think about global warming, right? And our city right now is in this no mow May, and we're trying to go ahead. They're trying to go ahead and convince people not to mow, so that the bees and the butterflies, until the frost is out and until the weather's warm, they're going to hide in the grass. Well, some people are focusing on all of the people mowing versus focusing all the people that aren't mowing and making an impact with that. And so when you feel positive about something, you don't want to focus in on the negativity. You want to focus in on that. Same comes for complaining about it. We stop and we focus. If we stop and we focus on the situation and the solution, we're going to go ahead and manifest versus complaining about it. Now, I'm not saying you can't complain, because there's healthy ways of complaining and talking to a coach or a counselor or your best friend, but let it go after that. You have to vent as caregivers sometimes, but you have to move on. Don't let that complaining and that negative energy make you feel stuck and affect your actions in your situation. So that's an important one. Let's say you are another situation is, let's say you're manifesting your health, and you need to be strong and emotionally confident, but on your situation, you need to determine how to respond to somebody. Let's say somebody is complaining. I got an example for you. Let's say I needed to go to yoga class and my brother was watching my mom for the day. Well, I didn't go to the morning yoga class because I wanted to take care of some other things that I needed to take care of around the home. And my brother was going to be away for the rest of the week. Well, I called my brother up at 4 o'clock and said, "Hey, I need to go at 5 o'clock to yoga class because I didn't get time this morning." And he's like, "You had all day." And you can respond by saying, "It's just an hour. I promise I'll be there at 6. I'll bring my clothes, I'll shower, I'll eat there. I'll be there at 6." Or you can respond to a sassy comment, or you can not go. But if you're manifesting your health, you want to go ahead and do that. Or you can just go ahead and saying, "I'll be there in an hour. I'm running a little late," and manifest your health, because you want to tell, if you're manifesting, you need to believe that you are manifesting that. So let me go ahead and share the the um, the things that you need to ask yourself when you're manifesting. First of all, the biggest question I ask my clients is, "What are you manifesting right now as a caregiver?" And they usually don't have a response. And I could say it in a simpler way. What challenges are you working on? What solutions are you trying to resolve? Because when they tell me they're stuck or overwhelmed, we need to break down one thing that they can manifest right now as a caregiver. It has to be their focus. It has to be something that they're working on. Maybe I'm manifesting being more organized, or I'm manifesting taking Fridays off. Maybe that's it. And then I ask, are you manifesting positively? Or how can you manifest positively? Are you attracting what you want? Because when you're thinking through it, you want to go ahead and think through positive ways of manifesting. Because as caregivers, nothing is going to go right. Things are going to be chaotic. Things are going to fall and drop, and that's okay. But how are you positively manifesting? If you had your walk on your calendar, but something came up, you're still manifesting. You still are planning for it. Tomorrow's another day, and you can go ahead and work it in there or learn from the situation. Another question is, how are you blocking out the noise? Sometimes you get distracted. Sometimes people may get in your head and saying, how can you find time to do that? Or your siblings might say, well, isn't mom a priority right now? No. How are you blocking out that noise and positively manifesting for your situation? Are you releasing your own fears and doubts and worry and much, much more? How are you doing that? So now I know as a caregiver, or now I know as a caregiver, we may not be manifesting huge, huge, huge goals right now, right? Because we don't. However, if you are, I'm cheering you on and I'm saying, you go, because that's so important if that's truly what you want. But if you can't manifest huge goals right now, there are other things you can manifest. It could be as simple as I need to manifest a positive mindset. And one way I'm going to try is I'm going to manifest gratitude. And then when you think through it, you might ask yourself, this is one step that you could do, is how do I make this happen? How do I manifest gratitude? I'm going to have to research gratitude and find out the ways to do gratitude and the science behind it and what happens, so I truly believe it. Then I can start journaling. Maybe it's going ahead and journaling my 5 things I'm grateful for. So number 2 is, what are you doing now? Is that helping or hurting you when you're going ahead and doing that? And you want to go ahead, and once you journal your 5 steps every day or your 5 gratitudes every day, you start training your brain. The reason I'm saying this is in 2017, that's what I did. That's what I did when my negative thoughts just took over. I had to find something to do. And then I also ask, are you really trying to manifest? Because the 5 things I was grateful for weren't enough. Am I really trying? What I really had to do is look at the things that were causing me to not be grateful. I stopped watching the news during those trying times and challenging times. I didn't need any more news. I stopped hitting that Facebook and limiting myself to that. And I started being with positive people and knew who would bring me down and limited my time with that, and knew who would bring me up from a positive perspective. And I think that's an important piece. Now, the thing I also want to note for you is, eventually the laws of attraction, when you start manifesting something, whether it be gratitude, organization, your morning routine, whatever you're manifesting, your mind starts shifting. And it's really cool. I started recognizing the little things that I was grateful for. The robin building a nest outside of my a door right now. My husband built this robin little birdhouse without a front on it. It has a little ledge. The robin is building its nest in there and she's laying her eggs in there. I started thinking grateful. My words and action were forming. And I noticed when I wasn't grateful, and then I would be able to continue to work on it. Sure, I was worried. Sure, I was fearful. Sure, I was angry at times, but I filled more of my mindset with gratitude than the other side. And so the big question for you is, how are you going to make this happen? How are you going to make this happen? What are you what are you doing now that can make this happen? And I think that the first thing when we think about how do you make this happen is you have to look deep in your within you and ask yourself what you want to manifest. And what do you want to manifest? Pick one thing. When I'm with a client, I tell them take 5 minutes and write down, everything that you want to manifest right now. And if they're stuck, I'm telling them to do the opposite. What's challenging right now? And they write that down. Then what are you going to do now to go ahead and shift that or manifest that? For me, it was the journal. What can you do to attract it? Maybe you're going to join a walking group online, or maybe you're going to go ahead and buy a book. I gave up sugar in at the beginning of April, and so I bought a book. I joined a Facebook group to go ahead and manifest my thoughts. I had to truly figure out my beliefs and truly my grounding for that. So how are you doing that? And is and and how are you going to attract it? And you have to recognize what's going to manifest the negativity as well. And let's say you want to start your morning routine and you want to start by walking in the morning. And in your head, you might not want to get out of bed. You might say, "Oh, I'm too tired. I need the extra amount of sleep." That's the manifesting that you have to work on then. So, what are you going to do then to really try to manifest that? You have to say, are you really trying to manifest that? Do you have to put out your workout clothes? Do you have to set your alarm to, you know, a a the eye of the tiger, for example? I'm just coming up with that one, so that you wake up and you're like, "I know why this music is on." So, like I said, I'm trying to manifest sugar and I'm trying to go ahead and find the positive vibes to do that. I did the research, I did my planning. I did my planning in case I failed at a thing or made a mistake. I planned on that. I have my rewards. I have my positive energy. I'm ready for my self-talk. I have some things written in my notes of my phone. When I start to feel like I'm craving something, I read that note in my phone to say, "You got this, Kathy. Now here's the steps that you wanna take so you don't go ahead and reach for the cookie." And I have my steps, like drink my water, go for, do 5 minutes of exercise or whatever, so you have to have that. I also think that when you're manifesting, there is something powerful about, I don't know if you've heard about the 1 second or the 1% rule. Try to do something like if you're manifesting, like for me, I'm manifesting no sugar. So what can I do that's going to take me 1% further? Or if I'm manifesting walking, can I go an extra block? Or if I'm manifesting eating nutritious, can I go ahead and cut up all the vegetables so that they're sitting in the refrigerator for me and I don't have to think about doing that? By going ahead and saying, what's 1% more that I can do to help me manifest? It might be research. It might be putting the notes in your phone so that when you feel those down days, you have something to read, something to boost your spirits, whatever it would be. Maybe it's a friend, whatever it would be. So let me end with some basic, powerful manifesting thoughts and a couple of one example here. You let's say you and I think most of us as caregivers want caregiver joy and peace right now in this hard season, right? So let's talk about if we're manifesting joy and peace. It's important for our overall health and quality of life right now. And so if you're manifesting joy, for me, I have to think about, why am I doing this? What is so important? What are the benefits? Well, it reduces stress and anxiety. It lowers levels of your blood pressure. It has a positive impact on your health. Um, it improves your relationships if you're manifesting joy. People want to interact with you. It increases your resilience because when you manifest joy, you have inner strength and love for yourself, and you're able to bounce back from difficult situations. It enhances your creativity and productivity. It might even get you to think about different ways. It boosts your overall happiness. And so you want to think about, if you're trying to manifest something, what are the ways and benefits? Because you have to believe it in order for it to be a thought and an action in who you are. So, in short, like, the belief for manifesting joy and peace can have a powerful and a positive impact on our mental and our physical and our emotional well-being, and it can enhance the quality of our life. And so then after that, you have to think about, what are the ways that I can do the manifesting of joy and peace? Despite all the challenges that come with caring for a loved one, you have to think about the ways. And it might be something as simple as, how am I going to move my body? How am I going to practice self-care? Am I am I going to put an app on my phone to go ahead and meditate or do yoga? Because I want to remember, I want to reduce that stress. Am I going to focus more on positive uh, moments? And how do I do that? Is that through a gratitude journal? Is it through a fun activity? Is it resting my head on my pillow at night and saying, okay, instead of grabbing my phone, I'm just going to think about all the good things that happened today? It was a shit show, but there was a lot of good things that happened today. Am I practicing gratitude? Can I take breaks? And maybe breaks for me are the thing that will help me manifest joy and peace, and taking a walk around the block, or going ahead and sitting out on the patio with my iced tea while mom takes her nap and I read my book, whatever it would be. So by practicing this, you can start cultivating and manifesting positively. So here's to caregiver life. You and I manifesting what we want, what we need, and what brings us positive energy. Manifesting is a habit that you can start working on. And like I said, I've been doing it with tons of my clients lately. My last two clients, we focused in on that. And when you really think about how you're going to focus and manifest, the the positive vibrations start shifting your mindset, and you start looking at things with a whole different lens. So I want to just tell you today that I think I have a couple more banners. I want to tell you today that this is not an easy thing. It's not an easy thing, but when you do get it, I would love to hear from you, because it's a wonderful, wonderful thing. Um, you can comment in the YouTube here and tell me what you're manifesting. give me some details, or you can DM me. I'm on Instagram at Kathy Lynn Van. I would love to hear what you're manifesting, because manifesting is important. And by manifesting, we can create a positive mindset and an outlook that can help us achieve our goals. We can be that daughter number two. We can improve our well being and enhance our overall quality of life and the quality of life for our loved one. So thank you for listening today and viewing this YouTube episode. If you liked what you heard, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel, and better yet, share it with somebody else that may need to hear this today. Talk to you soon. Bye for now.